Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Rocket Fuel. It is hosted by United, hosted by Amy, Joe, Ryan, and myself. And if it is your first time here, welcome, welcome. If you show up every day, you know that you are the reason why this community continues to keep going and to keep growing. And so, for those that don't know, United is open to all brokerages, all brands. It's where we get together every Monday, and we usually feature different speakers from all over, all to help you guys grow. And today we've got a special lineup, and for some of you guys that see, we have people in the white backgrounds. They are our United community builders. They have different markets throughout North America where they work closely with us to help build local events in their market. So if you see them, reach out to them because you never know what they've got going on in your market. And with that being said, speaking of community builders, today is a special one because we have a panelist of our community builders that are going to give you guys some awesome nuggets today, all different topics. And I cannot wait to even learn from them. So I want to turn it over to Amy Youngren.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. We are excited. I think that it goes without saying that it has been an interesting and a challenging market for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, and this is actually our new normal. Like what we're experiencing is the reality of how we are going to operate as realtors. And one of the things that I thought would be really interesting to do today would be to look at how are three different agents in three different markets with three very different types of businesses all thriving despite market conditions, despite economy, despite political scenarios, despite gas prices and war and all the things. And these three are thriving. And it's all in different markets, all with different types of businesses. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce our first speaker who we're going to talk to for a few minutes. Cheryl Maupin, she's from Columbia, Missouri. She is the leader of the Milestone Group. But what I love about Cheryl is that she's in production herself. And thank you so much, Cheryl, for being here and being one of our United builders. We're excited to have this conversation with you. So one of the things and then actually, before I even dive into this, guys, I just want to make sure that I emphasize our three guests who are our United builders, like they want you to ask questions as well. So I'm going to ask them a couple of questions and we're going to banter and engage with them. But if there's something that they're talking about where you're like, okay, that hits for me, or I would like to go deeper on that, please drop a question in the chat or unmute yourself. We want to make this truly like mastermind style, open and collaborative and just open conversation. So Cheryl, maybe just to get us going, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, and then let's dive in to the shift that you talked about that you've made in your business.
Yeah, so I have been in the real estate business for 15 years. I spent 12 years on a team working in operations, marketing, and sales. 4 years ago, I went out on my own and started my own team. And I mean, we're doing like probably 130 transactions a year on average. We're in Columbia, Missouri. So our market, like our average price points, like like high 200s price. So, we aren't definitely like a luxury market. We have to turn a lot of homes. Um, yeah, so that's kind of us in
That
a
is a
nutshell. We
lot of
have
business. Wow.
That means you have good systems
yeah,
when you're turning over units like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're always like we have a ton of systems for everything, checklists galore.
And what
We
software
have
are you
to.
using for those checklists?
Lofty actually. I've used a
Okay.
ton of them and we're already in there because that's our CRM we use and our clients are in there. So we use Lofty checklist and I've went back and forth and I've left it and I've just keep coming back to it. So that's where contract to close and listing prep, that's where our contracts live, our checklists live.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, Cheryl, you told me that you guys made a strategic shift from buying leads to going all in on organic growth, and that because of that, your income has more than doubled even in the last quarter alone. So, what specific tactics kind of
Yeah.
drove that shift, and how are you doubling down on what you're seeing is working now?
Yeah. So why we made that shift is we bought leads for a long time on Zillow. And we have a lot of rural communities and it was really cheap and our ROI was phenomenal. So you guys, I mean, there's one town we spend like 200 a month in on Zillow and we're closing like 4 deals a month and they're, in the 170s range, but the ROI was there. Well, they recently Zillow made the switch to referral based. And when it happened, I was just like, this is financially not going to make good sense for us. And more than that, though, I was really worried that, like, myself included, but my agents, that we were going to get burnt out because we were working double and making we'd have to work double to make the same amount we had been making. So I was just like, we're going to go all in on more organic. So we have switched to a lot more internal marketing, like email marketing. We've really, really hit home with email marketing, text messages, texting, mass texting, and just like reaching out via text more. Like it's a daily thing we're doing now. Kind of the way I look at it is like we spend so much time doing social media marketing and externally marketing to our sphere, but we should be doing that much marketing to internally to the people that are already in our network. We pay for all these leads, but are we marketing just as much to them once they get into our pipeline and into our CRM? And we weren't, we would throw out an email every once in a while. They'd be on our drip campaigns, but like actively marketing to them every day, I mean, daily with like featured listings, deals of the week, just reaching out, having we've doubled the number of past client and client appreciation events we've had this year. And yeah, I mean, we've already seen the income double from it. And we're not
Cheryl,
paying somebody else to do it.
Cheryl, I had a quick question. It's Brian.
Yeah.
When you guys are doing that much internal outreach and engagement, are you guys getting good open rates? Are you
Hmm.
guys getting like good feedback? Are people like, oh my gosh, there's Cheryl again. There's her team. Oh my goodness, not
Yeah.
gonna respond. Or is it like, what kind of response are you guys getting?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting like 50% open rates on a decent amount of them. Some of them will be less, but we actually use a lot of AI to craft our emails for us. And then like featured listings, we don't get good open rates on the, listings we send every day, but when we send out a featured listing, people want to look. I mean, and the people that aren't responding, we try to keep up with that email list. We're very intentional about it. We're not just like spamming them. If I don't want to read it, I'm not going to send it out.
Yeah.
Um, so we try to be very focused on what content we put out there.
If you don't want to watch it, if you don't want to read
Mhm.
it, if you don't, like if you don't want to consume it, why would you send it?
Yeah.
Um, are you emailing through Lofty as well? Someone asked.
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay.
I also still work with Curator, and so I use their email platform too, but I do use the Lofty mass email a lot, and I know a lot of my agents do. A lot of my agents will just use ChatGPT and Claude to do AI. Like they have conversations with the AI and send out mass emails every week, and then they send emails to the people that open those emails. And they're getting really good responses. I know. I mean, they're getting cold leads to interact.
Cheryl, what
Are
I
you
love.
guys
Oh, go
are
ahead,
you guys
Brian.
segmenting your lists at all?
Yeah.
Like how are you like is it you're just sending everybody the exact same stuff or are you like through responses to emails and through, phone reach out or text, are you segmenting the lists and sending different people different stuff based on like where they're at in their buyer journey or if they're first time buyers versus upsizers versus downsizers, etc.?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say we've gotten that segmented. I
Mhm.
do segment like my past clients and stuff. I'm not sending them as much because I know they're not, most of them aren't actively looking, but I want to make sure I'm still reaching out to them at least weekly with information about the community or about the real estate market and featured listings. I send out to everybody because I mean, people just like to look at pretty homes. Um,
Mhm.
and so I still get good open rates with that through the whole database. But then we do segment down we to people who open those, and if we have pipelines of warm, hot showing, and those pipelines will send different information too.
Okay.
Cheryl, what I love about you is that you stop renting your audience and you started really owning and going deep within your own circle and your own sphere. But how are you, Nestor had asked, how are you building your database, since you've made that switch of like paid leads to organic?
Yeah. So we haven't 100%. We did stop doing Zillow, but we do still do some pay-per-click, and then we're pretty heavy on social media. I'm experimenting with some YouTube stuff because we've seen that that's kind of taking off more. And so that's something that we're working on. I'm not killing it on YouTube, but that's in the pipeline. Um, and then I'm really pushing like getting out and networking, going to events and just being face to face, and then collecting. People will reach out and just I make sure I put it in our database and send information to them.
Can we dive into your three-tier pricing system? Because you mentioned to me that now you're rarely getting objections anymore from your clients when it comes to your fees because of this new pricing system that you put
Yeah.
in place.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of investors, and they always want a discount, right? Like, and they buy and sell multiple homes with you, so like, it should be expected. But I hated just having that question over and over again. So I set up a system where I have like, if you just want, a lot of investors will come to me and they'll be like, I have a house already found. Like, I don't need you to show it. I just help me with paperwork. So we have a pricing for that, just like helping them contract to close. And then we have just your standard, like this is what we do most of the time. And then we have a premium tier, which is higher even. And like for on the most people don't use the premium tier, but it's also like it gives them choices. I feel like if the client has choices, they don't have to feel like I have to ask you for a discount. I can take the discounted package if I want. Like with buying, if they use the basic package or the standard package, they know up front that I may not be their agent showing them every house. They're going to be working with my showing assistant as well. If they choose the premium package, it'll just be me. 99% of the time. So it also they don't ask for discounts. I'm like, here's our packages. It kind of eliminates the thought that there's even an option of maybe I could ask for a different price.
Right.
Cheryl, it's interesting. Oh, and
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
it's funny, Cheryl, we on the team, we went January 1, we went to a three-tier pricing package, and it's been
Hmm.
awesome. Like, it's been
Yeah,
market, then above market, and then premium. We have not had anyone go market
yeah,
commission base. Like none, no, everyone's always gone above and beyond because we offer additional value add services into the mid tier and then premium package. But I will tell you right now, it's funny.
yeah.
As of May 1st, we bumped the commission rates again, another half point on each tier. And
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
these people are, it's crazy. Aim, it is
What
freaking the
are
three-tier package is
what
awesome.
Cheryl, what are the names of the three tiers and then what are you charging?
Yeah, so we have the standard package, our premium package, and then we just call it like transaction brokerage package.
Okay.
Um, and then so our transaction brokerage one we're just assisting with paperwork and facilitating closing. We aren't like marketing for you. We aren't showing. And then we have our just basic, like, we do all the things that every typical realtor does. But you might not get me as your showing agent all the time. Um, like the premium package, we offer move out and move in cleaning. Um, we offer like complimentary staging consultations. As far as like marketing, I try to give all the marketing in the standard package because I want to market all of our listings fully. I don't want to like start differentiating that. So it's more like um staging consultation or cleaning, move out, move in clean. Me as the showing agent or having another agent show you instead, stuff like that. Bryan, I
Yeah.
would be interested because I haven't had too many people go for the premium package, and maybe it's our market, but like what were some of the things that you have added?
So, I don't want to take up all the time, but we built an ecosystem of different services that would serve our clients. And depending on what service people want, i.e. junk removal, at our premium, we will offer a certain amount of money that gets credited towards our junk removal or decluttering. We have a
Right.
staging company. So we will offer either a staging console in the pre or in the premier in our mid package, but then in our top package, we'll do the staging for them. And so we've not had any pushback. It's really cool how we've done it. Plus, based on paid ads, um, I have yet to have anyone use the lowest tier,
Bryan and
which is
Cheryl,
crazy.
what do you guys charge on your different packages? And Bryan,
Cheryl, you want
you
to go
just
first?
Yeah, so our basic package is 3%, our premium is 4%, and then it's like our lower package is 1.5%.
okay.
And ours is 2.5, 3, 3.5, and we just bumped to 3, 4, and 5.
Does that
Hmm.
do those include co-op?
No.
No.
Interesting. Okay.
It's all like it is. I'm blown away. I'm like, what the hell? We should go up. I'm like,
Wow,
let's
that's
keep.
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, Bryan, actually, why don't we segue to you? Because, guys, this is Bryan Felder. He is also a United builder. His business is in the DMV. Bryan also is a team leader, so I understand that that adds a layer of different perspective, but he's in full-blown production himself. So that's why I want to talk to him. And you run multiple business. You run a lot of ancillary service businesses, which is something that you package into these tiers, right?
Yeah.
But I know you're in a lot of different directions. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the value that you're offering in your ancillary services and your other businesses to your clients, but also like how do you do it all in a week? Like how do you have all these different businesses and also be in full production yourself and run a team? So what does that look like?
So I have I'm a part of a triplet. So I'm totally kidding. I'm not part of a triplet. I'm totally like I'm unique by myself. So real quick, you guys, we have a team called TBRG Homes here in the Northern Virginia market, but we service Maryland, DC, and Virginia. We just added our 8th agent to the team, which is really cool. One of the things I just hit 23 months or 23 years this month in the business, which is crazy. 98% of our business is referred to us, and we do between 60 and 85 million a year in production, which is kind of cool. But our biggest thing was how do we serve our clients? Our market's super competitive. Uh, average for us is around 600,000 for an average home price for a contract for our clients. But our biggest thing is like if everyone's going left, how do we go right? And so we were like, okay, what are services? We could be really good realtors. We could be really good in terms of like, hey, we're great before and helping them find the house and prep the house. We're good like under contract. And our focus was how do we offer services end to end? How do we go ahead and how do we build? When someone says, I want to sell my house, the first thing they do is they usually ask us to come over and be like, hey, tell me what I need to do to get the house ready. And so for us, we were like, okay, let's build this listing system, which is an end-to-end solution. So we went out and we started a junk removal company. And so we offered cleanouts and junk removal and then donations. And then we have a company that does pre-list, pay at close renovations. And so it's a Class A contractor contracting company that basically will go ahead and help sellers fix up their house, and then we just defer payment until closing and get paid back. And then we have
Brian,
oh yeah.
Brian, do you offer these services to clients outside of your own team? Like, do these businesses function for the public and the consumer? Okay.
Yes. Um, I think the big thing was it's like when you are building your business. Now, granted, I'm 23 years in the business, right? But when you're building when you're building your practice, you really got to think about what's the most important things my clients need and then serve those needs. And so for us is stress free, right? Like when selling a home and buying a home, it's super stressful. We were like, how can we clean out a house? How can we fix it up? How can we stage it? How can we sell it? So we have staging services. We have property management services. Our biggest thing was like really trying to figure out how to offer an end-to-end solution. And then to
Couple
piggyback
questions
that,
that
oh,
come.
go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. Um, first question is, it's amazing. My first question is, do you have any competition in your marketplace that offer the same level of services?
Not as an end-to-end solution. I think there are a lot
Okay.
of companies and a lot of realtors, like really good top producing teams and realtors. They'll be like, hey, I got this, I got this. But our biggest thing was how do we control? How do we make sure the value is there and how do we make sure quality is there? And how do we make sure it's complementary services? So I have not found, again, it's this counterculture theory is if everyone's going left, how do we go right?
Yeah, because a lot of people are asking you, what if, you're charging this premium price? What if somebody else in your marketplace is offering the exact same services for less money? How would you handle that objection, right? So like obviously Toronto is a huge market, and my old team, we used to do a very similar thing where like we would pay for renovations, we would pay for declutter, we would same thing, and then we called it white glove service. But we did have other teams in our marketplace because it's such a competitive marketplace that offered the same thing
Yeah.
and would offer it for less money. So if someone asked, how would you deal with that objection if someone else was offering the same services for less money?
Uh, Not sounding too strong, but if people are like offering discounts based on their commissions, some people need to discount their commissions because they're
Yeah.
not strong enough either in negotiation or being the problem solver or being able to go ahead and provide the value that our clients need. Because right now, as Amy said, this is the new normal. This is not an easy market. This is a professional real estate agent market and it is
Mhm.
not easy. It is a market share market. If we are professional real estate agents, we got to go after and go get market share. Anyway, anyhow, and any possible way we can offer value and provide that value to the market. But we've got to get market share right now. Super important.
Yeah. And I think like for that objection, another piece to just add to that is like, if they're discounting their services, the services aren't at the level of your services, right? Like
For
you've
sure.
built this system with trusted partners and trusted advisors that you really trust, that are just like you're a professional agent. And I always said that, like, yeah, you'll hire someone that offers the same services, and then you'll see the realtor over here with their Matterport doing the video, and or the staging themselves, whatever it may be, in a moving truck. And I'm a professional realtor. I focus on the real estate, and I hire the best professional team to take care of everything else. Um, so Tony, I
Ryan,
think all things.
Ryan, can you ask that question? I think
I was
it's a
gonna
good one. How do you avoid doing the work, Brian, for the premium and then the sellers don't end up selling? Like, are you protected in your contract or how's that
Oh,
working?
for sure. So if we're talking, so the junk removal and decluttering is usually paid on site. The renovation, we do have a contract and we do have language in our contract that protects us. It's funny, we actually had a situation probably like 5 or 6 years ago where we did such a good job on the renovation. They wanted to stay in the house. We knocked down walls and opened up the hole, and they were like, "Hey, we decided not to move. We want to stay." So we worked with them and the bank to refinance, and we've done like home equity lines of credit. So our biggest thing is we want to help you move. We want to help you buy and sell. But if we can and you want to stay, totally cool with that too, right? Like it's all about what's the problem or the issue that we're trying to solve for the client, and then how do we do that in a way that actually adds the value.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did I miss it? Did I miss any questions?
I
Sorry. Go
think,
ahead.
You got it all.
yeah, I think Tony just had said, like, if everything's the same, Tony, what I'd say to you is go back to what Bryan said is, first off, there's nothing to say that everything is exactly the same. It's just one
Yeah.
realtor's promise versus another. And I would just handle that objection saying, like, I'm so confident in my system and my team that we don't need to discount. And I'm here to negotiate your commission. If I can't negotiate, it's the old saying, if I can't even negotiate my own commission, what do you think I'm going to do with your money? I can't keep my
100%.
own money in my pocket. How hard am I going to negotiate for you at the table when we have an offer when it's not my money? So,
Right, I'd even say even more than that. We can't just put a for sale sign in the yard and expect the house to sell. Like
yeah,
those times are gone. Like, yes, it's still
Long
happening
gone.
in some
Long gone.
markets, long
long
gone,
gone.
but
Long
we
gone.
have got to get back to being aggressive and proactive and identify who is the right buyer for these houses and then go find those buyers. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Bryan, you do have a lot going on, which is super admirable, and you've built an amazing business. But like I know you have some systems or some habits that are consistently helping you generate even more business and opportunity and referrals on top of all the things that you're already doing. And can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the big thing is everyone has to have a PBS. A
Oh, what?
PBS is a P as in Peter, B as
Yeah.
in business, S as in Sam. A
Okay.
PBS is a personal business standard. What's your
Mm,
non-negotiables for the day? So non-negotiables for me is 2 hours a day. I do my lead gen or biz dev, and that's video emails to the database, calls, texts, emails, face to face. One tip I'll give you guys is never eat lunch alone. It's gonna be funny. Today I'm eating two lunches. I had one at 11, and I'm eating again at 1:30, which is crazy. But never eat lunch alone is the biggest thing because you got to eat. Might as well make your trip work for you. And so, like for me, my personal business standard, 5 days a week when I'm working, I work and it's 2 hours a day of some type of proactivity or biz dev. If I'm a brand new agent, the first thing I would do is you got to have 5 conversations a day. You've got to build the database. You've got to get to 100 people in your database and leverage the database. And then get a cookie machine.
Yeah. Tell
If
everybody
you,
about your
Tell
cookie
everyone,
machine.
yeah. And how
Yeah.
many cookies
so,
you had today?
I mean, it's ridiculous. We have had a cookie oven in our office since 2005. We get dough delivered
Whoa.
every month. Yeah, it's great. We had burned out one oven. We had to freaking go ahead and get a second oven, but we bake 484 cookies a month. And our biggest thing is how do we leave a lingering, lasting impression on every person or partner or client that we meet? And so Cookie Monster's right. You know what is funny? It is kind of crazy. Um, I haven't had a cookie in 9 years, you guys, because those things are, I can't stand the smell. Like our office smells amazing. We got oatmeal raisin, sugar, chocolate chip, like, but it's crazy. But what is the one thing that allows you to, where everyone's going left, how do you go right? How do you be different than your competitors? And so everywhere we go, we always bring freshly baked cookies for sure. And we've been doing it since 2005.
And I got one of those freshly baked cookies, but I got it at the Toronto airport when I met you.
Until he
Oh my
brought some.
gosh. I love it. I love it. Okay, any final questions or Cookie Monster? Yeah, that's right, Catherine said. Speaking of Catherine, let's pivot to Catherine and then we'll just keep the conversation going. Guys, this is Katherine Kranenburg. She is in the Boston market. High producer, community driven, thousands and thousands of organic followers on social media, and one of our United builders. Catherine, excited to have this conversation with you. I know that your strategy is to use social media as a local channel that builds trust and conversations and creates more conversations and really just helps people with their next step. So you're saying, you told me the content helps to get the attention, but you have a whole system behind it that's actually turning that into business. Can you walk us through what that looks like and what are some of the things that you're doing that are actually taking you from content to actual deals?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So thanks, Amy, for having me on, Raquel. So first of all, just to give some context, I am newer to Boston. So I moved here not knowing anyone. Um,
Wow, I did not know
and
that.
yeah, 9 years ago, I've had my license since 2007. Also was from the DMV area, Bryan, in DC actually. Um, and when 2019 was when everything was sort of like picked up. And then, of course, COVID happened. And I was like, oh, wow, how do I cast a wider net? Because now I have to really show up in a different way. So for me, social media, as with a lot of people, everyone was on Zooms and everything. And that just gave me an opportunity to use that and grow. A few years ago, I started YouTube, which is a beast. So I would just say, Cheryl, stick with it because it's totally worth it. And then that just kind of morphed into Instagram, even though Instagram was my first choice. I just went to YouTube, where I was posting consistently, which I think is the key here to anyone who's listening is consistency. For me, it's daily and sometimes twice a day. And I'll be honest, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to post at a certain time. What's the formula for that? And to be honest, I kind of followed that for a while. And now I just post, right? Whenever, I do try to do it before noon, but sometimes I'll post at 8 o'clock at night. And the next day I wake up and it's like, it's, booming. So that's a little bit of structure upon unstructure. But anyway, between the two of them, it just organically grew, you know, bringing in leads, referrals, closed transactions. And I think Raquel and I were talking last week on our coaching call, and it's like brought in like almost $100,000 in commissions, all tied into social media. And so, part of it, it was just like get started. And as Neil always says, it's not about having it all figured out before you start. It's kind of about figuring it out as you go. And that's kind of what happened for me because I went from creating, content, attracting relocation clients on YouTube to, kind of getting burnt out. Like last fall, like last summer, I got totally burnt out. And then I went straight into more of like being the mayor for my town and creating more newsreels about development, lifestyle, and that sort of thing. If you want, I can share just a little bit here on my screen. Hold on, let me like just pull this up really, really quick for you. Um, so I can, just kind of give you some context. So this was me, 3 years ago, starting off. My first reel, I mean, my first YouTube video is now at 12,000 views. This is basically not where I started. I started with 25 people. And even though I'm only at, under right over 1,000 people, this is just to say you don't need 100,000 people to basically produce connections and conversion. So people kind of really started here for me, Amy. The process was doing it consistently. I just can't share that and say that enough because I showed up every week, one long form a week, two short forms a week. And it took me, not to, discourage anyone here, it took me about 2 years where I felt like, you know, something was starting to happen. And it was really last year that it just kind of broke. And so I think the big shift, if I, can take this a little bit further from process, is this, yesterday before it was about the agent that knows everyone, right? You're just throwing everything out there. You can see my views here on Instagram under 3,000. I was kind of posting, just random stuff. Sometimes it was a just listed, just sold. And then the shift for me was really last March where I I did this one video, didn't put a ton of thought into it. And now I'm, kind of the agent that everyone knows. So when people think of moving to Boston, I hope they're thinking about me. And, for now it is. To now using AI where people are, where AI is recommending me. There's a lot of times I'm doing searches in my own chats and Claude and I pop up and I'm like, wait a minute, how'd that happen? So anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of that.
That's really incredible. And I just have a question for you actually on mindset around like the delayed gratification of posting consistently every single week like that and showing up on social media 2 years before you actually got a client opportunity from it. That I think I'd be defeated. How did you keep going?
Um, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was time taken away from my family. It was sometimes starting at 9 o'clock at night, um, especially if I was like what I called in studio. Um, but I just the harder it was, the more I tried. I mean, look at it. The harder it was for me to like really get going in Boston. I mean, no one moves to Boston to sell real estate. I mean, if you're not from Boston, and anyone who's here from Boston knows that local is local. They take this very seriously. Even on the other, depends on what side of the town you even grew up, is local. So you take someone who it wasn't from here, it didn't even follow the sports teams, but now I do because you have to, right? I mean, yeah. So you got to know what you're talking about. I just think for me, like I was doing something that not a lot of people were doing. I got to a point where I could just meet with a videographer and in 2 hours film two long form videos. And it was encouraging actually from them, if you want to know the truth, that they were like, no one is doing this. We go and film a lot of agents. They can't, basically come out with this content. And then on Instagram, I just, I don't know, I just kind of like, I just felt like it was my calling in a way. It became more than just why, because my family's my why. It came more of how do I want to connect with people? How do I want people to see me? And I think once you, again, taking Neil's quote is once people know, who you want to serve, they just start coming. I think that's really, I think it's just sticking with it and not having
Really
the
getting
plan,
clear, really
just
getting
going in
clear
your
on
gut.
your messaging. Yeah, getting clear on your messaging and who is your what is that ideal client avatar? What do they like? What are their pain points? What are their problems? And speaking to that consistently in your marketing and in your social media. Katherine, I feel like there's probably a lot of agents on here that are like, I'm posting consistently, guys. I actually am doing all the things, but I'm not getting leads. What would you say to that agent?
Um, my first question would be, are you posting for attention or are you posting to have a conversation? Because those are two very different concepts. A lot of agents are posting, but the content is too general. It's not specific enough. It's not really clear about who they help, what market they serve, what problem they solve. So I would say get really niche, get really clear on your niche. Um, think about what content is useful because you really want to get to a point where it's not about just being seen, it's actually being like making a connection and trusting. And again, if you want, I can just do a quick little screen share um, about what really kind of like hit home for me. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I started this framework, and honestly, because I'm speaking tomorrow in front of 300 people on this exact subject, I actually took some of my slides and kind of put them
Amazing.
here. So for me, it was just like, it's not just getting attention, it's actually getting them to stop scrolling and spend time on your Instagram, and then creating content that actually connects to them where they feel, like you care about what they're looking at, and then just like building the trust, before they even make the call. I mean, most people that I talk to, here's a really great example. They found me on YouTube last July. Um, I asked what was bringing them to Boston, and they were like, well, we live in Colorado and we've always wanted to live in Boston. And I thought, wow, I don't think I've met anyone who's ever said that because most people move here for jobs or education or that sort of thing. So this is a really great example because they found me on YouTube, right? I had officially sort of burnt out, went into total newsreels and becoming the mayor of my town on Instagram, and here they are, still finding me. So that was just a really great example. So I like to talk about attention. You have to really grab it in 2 seconds. This is just a few things that I would share as examples. This was one I did recently. This Boston neighborhood is changing faster than people realize. I think you really have to come out with a strong hook. I think it creates curiosity, transformation, and really like focuses on future pacing about what do I want to listen to the whole video. This is another one that I did recently. This is a building that had a $160 million debt and someone bought it. This is like in a very sort of go to, the go-to almost like upper bracket market in Boston. It's in Back Bay. People are really intrigued by this and they want to stop, and it really like brings them attention. And then here's
So
probably,
I have a quick question for you,
yep.
Katherine. So you were new and like learning the city, learning like all the ins and outs of it. So are there certain websites or tools that you're using to research your own market in order to be able to produce the effective content?
Yes. So I use a lot of different sources, from Google Alerts, is one. I also go to, there's a site from the Boston Planning Board. I will grab what's happening there in terms of projects. There's also other people that I follow on Instagram that are super, resourceful. There's one called Boston Uncovered. So I get them from all over, but I'm super, I'm kind of a scroller myself. I will admit that, I can do that. And so I just find stuff, right? Boston Magazine, Boston Globe. I just use like my local resources for that, and it's been really helpful. I would say the thing that I think makes me super unique about this is I'm not just sort of reporting the news, but I have actually become a news resource. I was at an event like last Friday, and people were coming up to me, and this was really kind of, very emotional for me because I sometimes you just don't even know who's watching you, right? And I think that's like a big thing. You never know who's watching you, so just keep going. This gentleman came up to me and he was like, "I don't go anywhere else for news except for your site."
Wow.
So I think Instagram has become the new news resource. And then, of course, I tap into AI. I tap into, Claude and chat. I use custom chat GBTs. That helps me streamline my process. I know you were asking me that as the first question. Um, so yeah, I hope that's really helpful because again, you know, it's not just about visibility, it's actually people connecting to you. I'm just going to do one more share because I think this one is really, 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 really cool. And that is, this one really if I can play this really quick, can I just do this for 2 seconds?
Yeah,
This
of
was
course.
something that Gary Vee did in 2022. And if you just look closely, this is when I think my twin, anyway, no one knows here, but I have a twin sister, and she actually found this online not too long ago. And I was like, wait a minute, this has me in there. And this was from, anyway, let me just go here.
Every local business on earth that sells something should go to Instagram, search their town at the top of the screen. If you're on Instagram, I just typed in Newton, Massachusetts, and then results pop.
Look at you see here, Gary Vee. This was a
Very
concept that him and Ryan Serhant talked about in
Yeah.
2022, and he posted it
awesome.
not like maybe a couple years ago because obviously my feed has changed. But anyway, that was just so cool, right? I was like, wow, that's a really cool moment. So anyway,
Very cool.
the main thing I'm trying to say is post to the people you want to serve, right? And sometimes you may not have it all figured out, but just start. I think just start.
That's amazing.
Do you guys have questions for Cheryl or Bryan or Katherine? Please feel free to like unmute yourself, ask in the chat if you have anything else you want to dive into at all.
Katherine, what I love about you is not only have you learned about your city, became like the mayor, but you also go to like events in your community and you actually show up. So you have like an online present and you have an offline present. What does follow-up look like now that you're getting a bunch of organic leads on both your YouTube channel and your Instagram?
So, DMs are a huge part of the growth for me. I do spend time DMing people. People actually DM me. Um, I did a video about a new, it's, pickleball came into an area of Seaport, an area of Boston. And that video, again, another example of me taking something local, that video went viral for them, and they reached out to me to say we would love to collaborate once we get there, you know. Another example is that same area, a developer started following all my whatever I was talking about in that neighborhood, and they reached out, and now we're doing a collaboration. This is like a whole like area of Boston, right? So my follow-up is really kind of staying in touch with them. And they just keep inviting me back to events, right? There's one particular PR firm here that continues to reach out to me to go to their events and actually document what we're doing, right? Whether it's an opening or, and so I think it's just like continuing to show up and grow. Um, I also have another example of something that I did recently. It was a post about parking meters in Boston. And again, at that same event that I was just talking about, one of the council members for the city came up to me and said, "Thank you for posting that. I've been trying to get this initiative seen out in Boston, and now you've done that for me." You know, so this was someone that came up to me. I would have probably come up to her in the past, but so I think it's just really continuing to post. If you want to know, honestly, like how do I do it? Just continue to post.
Katherine, are you editing your own content? Somebody's asking.
Um, it's a mix. I do have a VA that helps me kind of pump out, you know, the amount of content that I am. When I started YouTube, I absolutely went with an editor. I went all in. I think my first year was $30,000 investment. And you have to understand when you make a commitment like that and you're not making $30,000 to replace it, you have to really be careful about your, you know, your calendar blocking, your script writing, you know, all of that. It's a total process every single day. I think the huge part was calendar blocking. And then now, um, again, I stay on top of the news. Sometimes it comes out every day, and I really want to jump on that. So I will go in and edit it myself. I use Canva. Is a huge part of it. And I do try to stay consistent. If you go to my Instagram at Move Me to Boston, you'll see that I have like a very consistent flow.
Cheryl, what about you? Because I know you're doing a lot of social media and you said dabbling with YouTube now too. What about you? Are you guys doing your own editing?
Um, Not usually. I do have a VA as well
Okay.
as a video editing, but most of like the filming and stuff, I still do in-house, and we're working on that.
Okay. Okay, got it.
What's the proportion between short versus long form for Cheryl and Catherine? Sophie had asked in the chat.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
For me, my long form was once a week and two short forms a week. That was how I started. And now, and to be honest, I got really burnt out with long form, you know, and so I went to the newsreels, as you want to call it, and now it's every day, and sometimes including Saturday and Sunday. I do try to take a little bit of a break over the weekend. And I do mix in, for anyone who wants to know, I do mix in my own personal life as well. Um, I'm speaking on stage tomorrow, and this weekend I was practicing and I did a video about, you know, I'm nervous. I'm talking about the same thing I'm talking to you, but it's not on screen. It's in front of 300 peers. So, yeah.
You're
And
going to be amazing.
are you clipping your long form and leveraging it for more short form as well?
Yeah, I did that a lot. Yeah, exactly. I created that, and I'm still going back and doing that. I'm not doing it, an editor is doing it. For me, YouTube, just scripting it and getting on, you know, getting in front of the camera and creating all the content, that was all my bandwidth I could handle. So I definitely recommend, yeah, going all in. It's a
I
beast,
think
right?
it's
It's called Mr. Beast.
I think it's pretty cool to hear from you, Catherine, and you, Cheryl, like how, and it's so cool about this freaking business, how you can build your practice and how you can build your niche, or whatever however you say it, however you want to build your practice in this business. I freaking love it. Like three different strategies on how to build and freaking grind. Like Cheryl does not seem like she's frustrated and challenged and like upset. Catherine does not seem like this, like she wakes up every day going, this sucks. Like this is freaking, it's awesome because it creates this lifestyle, but everyone can build their business in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's freaking
Yeah.
legit. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Build your business
I
the way you love it. Otherwise, it's awful to come to work.
I'd love
For
to ask
sure.
all of you guys. I mean, great stuff today. Is what have been like some of your favorite tools or game changers that like really changed the game for you guys? That's and I know you guys are all about systems. I mean, we heard it through and through today. Is what have been some of your like favorite tools that you couldn't live without today? Bryan, we'll start with you.
I think mine is routine. I'm very big on routine. So when I work, I work. And every day I work, my goal is to generate at least one referral or one lead to the team or to myself. Um, how I do that, I use Evernote. Evernote is something that's really helped me. We've really adopted Claude Cowork. So 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, it now reads my emails and sends me and highlights based on priority what I need to respond to. Every morning, Claude Cowork sends me a daily digest of what my day looks like and where I need to put my time and energy. And then every Sunday, it tells me where I need to put my time in four strategic areas: agent attraction, agent development, lead gen, and then more on like strategy, debt management, raising capital, depending on what the business needs. But Evernote and Claude Cowork are probably my two biggest that I use.
Love. Cheryl.
Definitely Claude. I use it every day now. And then just my checklists for my transactions, and it gets it out of my head. So I just have to log in, see what I need to do that day, and I don't have to worry about it any other time because it just lives there. So checklist and Claude for sure.
Katherine.
Yeah, definitely Claude. I just started diving into that about 2 weeks ago. So if you're not using it, for anyone on this call, you're not too late. Just again, everything is about just getting, just start. And I still do a lot in Chat GPT before I move it over to Claude. So because Chat GPT knows me really well. Again, AI recommends me, so I continue to use chat for that. Canva is obviously a big one, but also calendar blocking. Yeah. Raquel, you would say to me, don't just write it on notes. Don't write it on paper. And Trello. Trello is a huge one for me. Again, it was something I didn't know much about and how to implement that in my business. I started at the beginning of this year and it's been a game changer. I put everything in there. So thoughts, creativity, list, everything.
Love it.
And I think the only other thing I'd add in real quick, if you listen, the three of us aren't only in our business, we're on our business. I think
Yeah.
that's really key. If you're a brand new agent, don't only be in your business. Think about what you want your business to look like and how much time you put on top of it and what that looks like, either daily, weekly, monthly, however you do it.
I love this conversation style, like this mastermind and like getting some of our own people to share. It was so good. I also just want to remind you guys that if you have something super valuable, like you're winning in your business, or you have a tool or that you've mastered and that you would have an area where you'd want to contribute, we would love to hear from you and we'd love to feature you at RocketFuel. So we have shared that a number of times, and so we've had a number of you reach out. So please remember to do that at any point. I just want to remind everybody, first and foremost, thank you, Katherine, Cheryl, and Bryan. We appreciate all of you. You guys were amazing. This was super valuable. Let's try to blow up the chat a little bit and give them the accolades, you guys. I just want to remind you that the next 2 Mondays are statutory holidays, one in Canada and then one in the US. So every year we always pause Rocket Fuel the last 2 weeks of May because they're both statutory holidays. We'll be back again on Monday, June the 1st. And we have an amazing June planned. Lots of really great stuff happening in June. So we'll be back again for the month of June. Enjoy your next 2 weeks of holidays, and we will see you on the flip side.